In this video, I'd like to talk about what not to do and what not to say when you go to pay your respects to somebody who has just lost a child. Hello, my name is Ghazala. I'm at the Heart and Soul Cafe. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back, and if you're here for the first time, then I so appreciate it. Thank you. Pull up a chair and come and sit down and let's have a chat. So I have shared in previous videos that I very sadly lost my son 4 years ago to cardiac arrest, and I'd just like to share a few things with you. Sometimes people say, I don't know what to say when someone's passed away and I go to pay my respects, and so I just want to cover a few things, and this has been done in quite a few videos before, but it's just my take on it and a couple of experiences of mine. One particular experience I'd like to share with you, and that is that there was so this was, I think, day 3 or day 4 after my son sadly passed, and there were some friends of the family, if you like, who came to see us, and these weren't really close friends. It wasn't that we saw them every other weekend. It was, we sort of got together every 3 or 4 times a year, I would say, and just have dinner together and just check, just spend some time together. And so the wife, the lady came in to see me, and I was sat on the sofa, and there were a few of my cousins around. We had just, they had brought some dinner over, and we had just sat, we had just finished dinner, and so I was sat on the sofa, and this lady, she came in, and she started crying uncontrollably, and didn't sit on the sofa next to me. She sat on the floor at my feet and started wailing. And well, the only way I can explain it is that she was wailing. She was crying pretty sort of uncontrollably. It was, without sounding awful, it was a little bit theatrical, a little bit, animated. If you remember, cartoons as a child where, there's a figure crying, a character crying, and there's those tears just flooding out like that. It was something similar to that. And I mean, obviously at the time I didn't find it funny. It was just so uncomfortable. I just felt so awkward and uncomfortable, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say to her. I was like that, just my jaw dropped, and I was a little bit speechless. And this carried on. It's not that it just lasted for a few moments and then she sort of stopped. It just carried on until one of my cousins then, came to her. She put her hands on her shoulders and, sort of ushered her up and got her to sit down next to me. And the crying carried on, and she just, bent over almost, over her knees, and, she just, and I thought, if this is her way of, consoling me, then, she's obviously got it wrong. It's so it's and then, as far as I remember, she left, just crying. I don't think she actually said anything to me, and I don't think I actually sort of properly saw her face. Definitely something that, a way, you definitely don't want to do that. Sort of crying more than the person who's had the loss is crying is, I don't think, and the fact that it was sort of quite comical was not helping. Some of the things that people say as well is something that I do struggle with sometimes, and I think it's not really what you want to hear at that time. For example, oh, you know, your son is in a better place now. And okay, you know, if you, you know, even if you follow a faith and you believe that, you know, your son is and your child is in heaven, that's okay. That's good. That's good. But I still don't think it's what a parent wants to hear, because, you know, at some point, once upon a time, you've decided that you want to have a child, yeah, and then you know, go through and you find out that you're expecting, and then you 9 months later you carry this child for 9 months, and then you go through, sometimes it can be very traumatic, you know, experience of childbirth, and then you have this child. You have this child. The best place for this child is by your side as an infant, as an adolescent, as a teenager, and you want that child to be in the best place, which is near you, next to you, in their adulthood. And eventually the best place for that child to be is near you. Let's say if you are on your deathbed, you know, ready to exit this world, and that's where you believe the best place is for your child. So someone comes along and says that they're in a better place, doesn't really, I don't think it's the best thing to say. Even if that person themselves believes that they're in a beautiful place, that's okay, you know, but I don't think it's what you want to hear at that time. I have a client who shared, she sadly lost her husband, as well as she lost a child, and she lost her husband sometime previous to that, and she was sharing a story where some people came to pay, you know, their respects, and someone said to her, you know, don't worry, you'll meet someone else. You're so young. You're, you know, such a lovely person. You'll meet someone else, and you'll get married again. And again, that person is there trying to fix things, and this is a problem that people have, where they try to, you know, wave their magic wand and make it all right for that person. Well, you can't make it all right. You can't fix, you know, someone just losing the husband, unless you can somehow bring that person back for them, and that would be fixing. Yes, can you do that? Well, no, you can't. So we want to be careful about what we say. By this person saying that, you know, you'll get married again, you've just in one moment, you know, shrunk that person's value. And, you know, the whole, you know, this lady had been married to her husband for 15 years. She was now in her 40s, and, you know, you can't just erase that and say, okay, well, that's gone now, and, you know, that's no longer working for you because your husband's passed away, so this is how we can fix it. Even if that person goes on to getting married again, you know, I mean, you know, is it a new idea that you've just put into that person's head? I mean, I'm sure that person's got the intellect to think themselves in the future sometime, well, yeah, you know, I could think about getting married possibly, but it's not really what you'd be thinking about, you know, just after you've had a funeral. And that's not the right thing to say at that moment, at that time. Even if in the future you have that conversation with that person, that was definitely not the right time. Yeah, so I think there's some things that we just need to be careful about. You know, people tend to think that they need to say something, that they need to, this is a time where I need to say something. If I don't say something, the other person will think that, well, you know, I don't really care. Well, the fact that you've come means that you do care to some extent, because you wouldn't have come otherwise. So being present is one thing. Just being present says a lot. And sometimes, you know, I think we can just be honest. I think we can just be honest and say something like, I don't know what to say, but I'm here, I'm present, and can I just sit with you for a while? The other thing would be a good thing to say is, I'm so sorry for your loss. I can't even imagine, what you must be feeling, what you must be going through, but I'm here. If there's anything I can do to help you, please let me know, And, some friends, they did the right thing. They would just bring some food over. It's just a little gesture. It's just someone saying, oh, I cooked a little bit of extra something and I brought it over for you. If someone's already, thought of that before I did, or brought some food over before I did for you for this evening, well, this dish will, keep really well in the fridge, and, you can have it tomorrow. Or another friend sent me a message every so often. She'd send me a message. I'm on my way to the grocery, store, supermarket. Send me a list of anything that you need, and I will pick it up. And if you don't want to necessarily see anyone today, that's fine. I will come and leave it on your doorstep. Ring the doorbell so you'll know to come and pick it up, and that's fine. You let me know, what you need right now. And that's just so thoughtful, and it's just little gestures, things like, oh, can I, can I offer to take your, young children off to school in the morning, drop them off, and, pick them up and bring them home. Just little things just say a lot, and you don't have to come in and, start bawling your eyes out, or say things like, God was missing an angel and he we don't need to say anything like that. It's not, I've even heard, someone say, someone shared that, they lost a child, and a lady came and said to her, you can have another child, you can, possibly go on to having more children. Now, well, doesn't she know that? I mean, I'm sure she does. She's old enough, she's already had children, so she knows that she can have children. So you don't need to tell her that, and that's not the time or place to be telling her that or saying that to her. So, just don't say anything. Just be there. Just be there and ask that person what they need. So for you to say, oh, you can have another child or you can get married again, for one thing, it's something that they already know. And the other thing is that, how do you know like that? How do you know that having another child or getting married again is something that person would need? Loneliness is something that they've even thought about, or being on their own is something that they've even thought about, because you're trying to fix things and make sure that that person isn't on their own. Well, you don't really know what that person needs. You haven't had that conversation. You've just come out and made some suggestions and tried to fix it. We can't always fix things. So my suggestion is, if you don't know what to say, don't say anything, and say, I don't know what to say, but I'm here. And I think that's probably the best thing, the best way forward. And there's nothing wrong with saying that I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say. You tell me, what you need. And that's it. Thank you for listening. I hope this video helped. Just wanted to share. I think I probably wanted to offload this that experience of the lady crying, and I don't think I've ever spoken about it. And the other thing is that I've never seen her again. She never came again, and it's been 4 years. And this is someone that's they're supposed to be like family friends that we sort of got together with. I never saw her again, and it's been 4 years. Never messaged me, never phoned me, never came over to see me, check in. Never. So very odd behaviour. So I hope that helps. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much. See you again in the next video.